Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. My name is Richard Fija and I am a Larrakia man from Darwin, from my father, my grandfather and my great-grandfather, and what Aboriginal culture calls grandfather law. I'm honoured to be here to welcome you to Larrakia country this evening. And although as the chairman of Larrakia Nation, I am meant to be neutral, I can honestly say I feel I'm in a room amongst friends. I wanted to not only welcome you here, but let you guys know the importance of good governance. It's central to everything we do in the community, the well-being, all the social determinants. And Aboriginal people always say, if the people are good, then the land is good. We call the land our mother, and when we care for our mother, mother provides for us. And governance is central to that in everything we do in our everyday lives. It governs our interactions, it governs our abilities to be a better place in the Northern Territory than anywhere else in Australia. And I thank you for allowing this to happen, and I wish you all the best in the future so that you can continue to allow this to happen. Because I honestly believe the Territory is the best place to be in Australia. You have come by way of Larrakia land. You'll hear the voices of our ancestors, and when you leave, you'll hear their voices. May they carry you with you in your hearts. I call the Territory home. I know you call the Territory home. Let's make the Territory the best it can be. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Richard, for that wonderful welcome to country. And I too would like to pay my respects to the Larrakia people and acknowledge their elders, past, present and emerging. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, welcome to the 2020 campaign launch. The people of our electorates have a choice on who will lead the Territory into the future. But there is only really one choice. One choice if you want a steady hand to guide us through these uncertain times. One choice if you do not want to see a return to chaos and dysfunction. One choice if you do not want to see the Territory torn apart by infighting and desperate internal leadership wars. One choice if you do not want to see our public assets flogged off and our teachers sacked. One choice if you want to see the Territory economy grow and opportunities for all. And one choice if you want the Territory to be in good, safe hands and to have a government that takes care of people. Territory Labor is the only choice for a safe and thriving Territory for the future. We have achieved so much together, and we are on the cusp of more great things. And we have a plan to move the Territory forward. And we need your help in this last week to make sure that we get out there and we tell all Territorians why they need a Labor government. Thank you for everything you have done so far, but we do need you to keep pushing right to the end. We need you knocking on those doors. We need you making those calls. We need you talking to people right across the Territory to make sure we can return a Labor government. It is just so important to the future of the Northern Territory. And now I'd like to introduce the man who has made the hard decisions in these incredibly difficult times. This is the man who has always put Territorians first and always will. And that's because he was born in the Territory, he understands the Territory, and he loves the Territory. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Member for Fanny Bay and the Chief Minister of the Northern Territory, Michael Gunner.
That's right. I'll get Mum to come down. Mum. Just asking Mum to come down and pick up Hudson. No, of course not. Thank you, Richard, for your words. You always make us feel warmly welcome on Larrakia land. Thank you for your kindness. Thanks to Nicole Manison, Deputy Chief Minister, Treasurer, Police Minister, and fingers crossed, the soon-to-be returned member for Wanguri. Nicole has another important achievement to her name. Like me, she comes from Tennant Creek. There she is. Young Nicole, contemplating a future in politics. Ladies and gentlemen, Labor Party faithful, Territorians, 2020 has taught us a lot. 2020 has taught us how precious life is. For me, 2020 began with getting my own health right and making sure I was there for my son. That's all turned out great, but I learned very quickly that there was a much bigger concern, the health and safety of all Territorians. 2020 has taught us that big challenges like coronavirus require stability of government, and within that, unity of purpose. 2020 has taught us that we must be swift and decisive. 2020 has taught us that we must push through obstacles. We've saved lives and we've saved jobs by doing whatever it takes and always putting the Territory first. Our entire team has shown unwavering resolve to act in the best interests of all Territorians, so that we can all get through this together, and we will. When news came out about the first deaths in China from coronavirus in early January, I'm sure that you, like me, barely gave it a second thought. But then things began moving fast. We put up our hand to turn the Impex Workers Facility at Howard Springs into a quarantine centre for returnees from Wuhan and those stuck aboard the Diamond Princess in Japan. We lent the nation a hand. We should all be proud of that. 2 days later, with worries about what the bushfires would mean for tourism, which was looking forward to a bumper year, and with worries about COVID, we announced a $2 million tourism resilience package. $2 million. It seemed a reasonable amount at the time. Since then, we've added nearly $400 million. It costs a lot. It has to. Saving lives and saving jobs is not free. No other state or territory government has done so much or moved so quickly. We have thrown the kitchen sink at this because every Territory life matters and every Territory job matters. I want to thank everyone for everything they've done, but the job is not over yet. We can't risk complacency. Every frontline worker knows that this is not over. We still don't know what the CLP or Territories Alliance would have done. They won't say. But I can tell you why we did it. Because we're from here. We know the Territory, we know our people, we know what's needed. And we're here for all Territorians. Say good day to our crew from the centre.
We're fighting for families in the Territory. We'll continue to fight for all Territorians.
Let's keep the great work of remote housing going.
Two things matter to me most: lives and jobs. That's why we became the first mainland jurisdiction to close our borders. And when the CLP told us to open the borders to Victoria back in June, we said no. When they asked the Australian Senate to pressure us to change our minds, we said no. We moved fast to secure access to our remote communities, knowing what could happen if the virus found its way in. Overcrowding in those communities and poor health is a huge generational challenge. That is why we have been working so hard to improve the living conditions of our First Nations people. In 4 years, we have built or upgraded more than 2,000 remote area homes, and altogether 4,500 homes across the Territory. The CLP built one home in the last 2 years of its disastrous government. I'd like you now to come with me on a quick trip around the Territory, a bit of a flyover. What an incredible place that we share. I was born here, I travel to all points, all the time. Yet I know I've still only touched the surface. It's exciting to live here. It's an incredible thing to be guided by our Indigenous custodians into their special places, where everything carries multiple layers of meaning and importance. And by the way, we didn't just put up night lights on the oval at Docker River.
We're backing tourism, we're backing art, and we're backing people. We've put nightlights at the ovals of Milingimbi, Gulawinku, Nooka, Barunga and Gupwiak.
It's great to have Kate join the team, and Selena knows it's no small thing to install lights in the oval of remote communities. It brings huge social benefits. It brings people together. It opens up more hours in the day to play sport, which is such a big thing for youth in our communities, where our populations are so young.
And we've got lots of children and young people in Darwin's northern suburbs.
And that's what Families as First Teachers is all about.
We love Territory kids.
And we're making sure that all Territory kids, no matter where they live, start engaging young.
We are the government for all Territorians. Whoever you are, wherever you live, whatever your job, whoever you vote for, we don't play favourites. Territorians come first, always. We have governed for all, not for ourselves. Taxpayer-funded overseas trips to a luxury suite at Marina Bay Sands, Singapore, with private massages paid for by the taxpayer? None of that. A $5,000 tab at the Red Rose Bar in Tokyo on the government credit card? None of that. Paying a company belonging to Terry Mills $500,000 to set up an office in Jakarta, which lasted less than a year? None of that. Doing private business deals in Vietnam with companies while supposedly doing business for the NT government? None of that. I guess it makes us look pretty boring in comparison.
Hang on, mate. We're not boring. Mark, we've been anything but boring. We've delivered the $200 million city deal. Have a look at the street art. The city looks beautiful. We've done the laneway festivals, the Luxor Festival. It's greener, it's cooler, it's a much more fun place to be.
Absolutely.
We've had to adapt. We've had to work hard and work fast to keep abreast of events. We've also had to anticipate events, which is why we, a Territory Labor government with so many Territory born and bred people among us, knew what needed to be done.
So we knew, even with coronavirus, that we had to keep things moving in Palmerston.
We built the Palmy Hospital and we built Totoli School, but they're not even in our electorates. What the?
They will be, Tony. They will be.
All right.
When our stimulus measures, our rescue measures rolled out, I'd never seen our public service with such sense of purpose. And if we are returned on August 22nd, we will keep the pedal to the metal, fast-tracking business approvals to get this economy moving again. We have to be the easiest place in the region and the country to do business without sacrificing our environmental or safety standards. It can be done. As the Territory Economic Reconstruction Commission has said, we need approvals done in 30 days. I have ordered our departmental CEOs to make this happen. The Commission is interested in anything and everything that will move us forward, and my task, if I am still Chief Minister after August 22, is to make sure we capitalise on every opportunity, fast.
That's what's happening with the John Stokes Square development, a new police station and social housing for Nightcliff.
And it's making the whole inner north area safer and even more livable.
We have a good story to tell. It's a story about what we've done to save lives and jobs. It's a story about the Territory's future. We have not had a single case of community transmission in the Northern Territory. The coronavirus has shown how we are capable of self-sufficiency as a nation, and Territory produce is going to become even more desirable when the virus is over. And with the positive attention on us during this crisis, we're going to be able to become a much more desirable destination for visitors and foreign students. During this crisis, how many of you have had friends from South calling you saying, mate, I wish I was up there with you right now. I know I have. Those conversations really mean something. People are looking at us. The time of coronavirus is not just our chance to recover, but to rebound. We are already on the way to building the world's biggest solar farm in Tennant Creek. It has received major project status, not just from my government, but now from the federal government. That's commitment. This will happen.
Sun Cable won't just transform Tennant Creek. It will change the way Australians think about renewables. I'm proud to be here for Territory Labor.
The time is right for so much to happen. We will take Territory sunshine to the world. We will start making things here in Middle Arm with low emissions technology. We will build a data park and develop subsea optic cable links to Asia and the world.
And we're heading off to space in northeast Arnhem Land. NASA are on board and so are the Yolngu. What an amazing combination. Main Maktawu.
We will continue to supply beef to Indonesia and the region, and demand for it will only grow. We will develop our Katherine Agribusiness Hub to feed ourselves and the region. The world will start knocking loudly on our door. We must be ready to greet them. We're telling parents in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, India and more that Darwin is a great destination for them, for their students to learn and work in a safe environment. We've got to bring that home. When COVID breaks, we will. And we know from Santos Chief Kevin O'Gallagher, making huge investments in offshore gas, that they are heavily committed to Darwin, and in his words, see more high-paying jobs in the region for years ahead.
And our local decision-making policy is bringing self-determination to Aboriginal people, and we are making big steps towards the treaty.
We will deliver on our renewables target of 50% by 2030. We're already on track, having lifted our renewable use from 2% to 16%. The other parties don't take renewables seriously. They will take us backwards. The CLP has said solar jobs aren't real jobs. I think every job is a real job, and jobs that help Australia lower global emissions for the sake of our kids should not be sneered at. The Territory is where we can launch our nation's comeback, and I want Darwin to be the comeback capital. Australia needs us here, strong and secure at the top of our continent. We had enemy bombs in 1942. a wipeout of whole suburbs in 1974. Given those cataclysmic events, I'm reluctant to say that 2020 has been the Territory's toughest year, but it's been tough for all of us. A different kind of global menace has required an orderly and steady response. We have delivered that.
And there's another menace out there, gamba grass.
And our gamba grass policy will create 45 new jobs to fight this despicable weed.
This stuff burns hot, and that's one of the reasons why we've opened the NT Bushfires headquarters here at Acacia.
Territorians have already started voting, and we only have a few days to go. And friends, this thing is far from won. This will be close, very close. Every single vote will count, which means every minute we have left counts. I don't want any of us to be thinking next Saturday night that I wish I made another phone call, wish I knocked on another door, or wish I'd done another stint on a booth. Maybe that could have been the difference. Don't wonder if you could be the difference. I'm telling you right now, you are the difference. I need you, Labor needs you, the Territory needs you too. We have a bit of a tradition of thanking our volunteers. We've been all so busy lately, we haven't had the time. So now I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge some of our Labor champions. Mark Stoyles has been helping the team in Alice for the last few months. Great out the doors, takes the most comprehensive notes anyone has ever seen. Let's hear it up for Mark. Debbie Lees, shift worker at the hospital, but always dedicates her spare time volunteering for Labor. Debbie is really enthusiastic and brings a lot of energy to the team. She's currently on 2 weeks leave to work on the campaign. Christine Short, a long-term member and volunteer of the party, hugely reliable. If there's door knocking with curbs, Christine is always there. As a local resident, she understands the issues and always has the right answer. Matt Gratian recently moved to the Territory, and one of the first things he did was sign up to the party and volunteer his time for Team Palmerston. He's a prolific door knocker, a really great bloke who's keen to do whatever it takes to get Labor across the line in Palmerston. Finally, the big one, our volunteer of the campaign. Ron the Warhorse Greaves. Ron has worked on every election since the beginning of time. A true trooper, been to every phone, every door knock, running the Casuarina pre-poll. The Warhorse retired from the Education Department early this year, but he's never been busier. Thanks, mate. Thanks, everyone. We need to use the little time that we have left to persuade those who may not have made up their minds why Labor is the best choice for the Territory's future, to steer the Territory through this crisis, to keep the border secure, to keep Territorians safe. The alternative choices are too dangerous and too destructive to the Territory to let happen. Open borders, job cuts, higher power prices, asset sales. We can't let that happen. We've come too far to go back now. Let's hold the line. Let's stay the course. Let's stick together and see this through. To all of you, thank you for being there for Territory Labor. That's from Jack's campaign, first campaign for Arnhem in 1995. Vintage and collectible. A final bit of inspiration from a man who inspired us all. It's not long to go now. Let's bring this home. Thank you, everyone.